There comes a point in every great saga when the audience expects the dust to settle. The breakup happens. The boxes get packed. Everybody goes home, and with any luck, the phrase ankle monitor never has to appear in the sequel. That is not what happened here. Before we get to burner phones, mystery callers, Facebook viewing, and the extended Temu cinematic universe, there is one conversation worth remembering. Shortly after Misty says she was forced out, she texted Michael that she had spent the previous night at the lab because she literally had nowhere else to stay. She told him she was sick, staying quietly in the basement, and not looking for a fight. Michael's visible reply in the screenshot was remarkably efficient. It's really not my problem I'm having company coming over. It's going to be uncomfortable for you. 3 years of relationship history, reduced to something that sounded less like compassion and more like a hotel checkout notice. And that matters, because according to Misty, the company was part of the reason this story existed in the first place. Then parts 1 and 2 of cheating, cousins and ankle monitors hit the internet. Michael apparently discovered that the internet has a very inconvenient feature. Memory, according to Misty. He responded by calling for reinforcements. And they came. Ryan answered the call. Misha joined. Then Missy joined and stepped into the commentary department. And suddenly Michael had assembled what can only be described as the Temu Avengers low budget, high drama, free shipping on excuses. For a brief moment, the mission seemed simple. Defend Michael, attack the story, and hope accountability got lost in transit. But then the screenshots started arriving. One of the biggest turning points came when Misty tried to deal with something painfully ordinary, getting the rest of her belongings and getting a title signed over. In the message thread saved under Michael's contact, a message suddenly begins. This is Ashley, the junk shopping cart. Misty says Ashley was using Michael's phone when she sent it. So Misty went looking for logistics and somehow reached customer service for chaos. The message told Misty that Ashley would pack her belongings when she had time, and that Michael would not sign off on anything until his missing property was found. Think about the layers here. Misty was texting Michael Ashley. Answered Ashley introduced herself using the same junk shopping cart nickname from the videos, and the argument about property somehow became a guest appearance. At that point, the junk shopping cart was no longer just a metaphor. It had become a recurring character. One bad wheel, questionable steering, still somehow carrying the entire plot. Then came the defenders. Misha's messages, according to Misty, were aimed at defending her father. Missy defended Michael from the family side. Ryan remained firmly in the reinforcement department. Again, people are allowed to defend somebody they care about. But when an argument requires a full supporting cast, multiple phones, group messages, and a sequel, the disagreement may have wandered a little beyond private family matter. And then Frank got drafted. Frank is Misty's brother. He was not dating Michael. He was not living with Michael. He did not have an ankle monitor. He was simply related to Misty. Misty provided a Facebook screenshot that she says shows Michael appearing in the viewer activity connected to Frank's page after the first 2 videos. The screenshot does not tell us why Michael was looking. It does not prove some elaborate plot, but it does produce one wonderfully simple question. If you are completely finished with the drama, why are you still checking the family's Facebook activity? Like you are waiting for the post-credit scene. And then the phone started ringing. Not once, not twice. Misty provided a call log showing 4 no-caller ID calls landing within 7 minutes. 4 anonymous calls in 7 minutes. That is not a conversation. That is a telethon nobody asked to sponsor. Misty says the calls were part of a larger pattern involving different and hidden numbers. The screenshot itself proves the repeated anonymous calls. It does not identify who was behind them. Then the voicemail receipts appeared. A second screenshot shows 3 brief voicemail entries from an unknown caller at 5:48, 5:50, and 5:51. Misty describes the messages as threatening and hostile. The visible transcription includes short fragments and an insult. So now the story had evolved from angry comments to anonymous calls to voicemail drops. The Temu Avengers had apparently discovered telecommunications, and then came the message that changed the tone. From an unknown number, Misty received a text that read, "I'll see you at Element," Misty says is her workplace. Misty says the sender was somebody connected to Michael. The screenshot itself does not identify the person, so that part remains her allegation. But the message is visible, and that is where petty drama starts wandering into something much less funny. It is one thing to argue online. It is another thing to send repeated anonymous calls, and it is another thing entirely to reference somebody's workplace from an unknown number. At that point, the punchline becomes very simple. Everybody needs to stop, because the original story was already messy enough. Misty says she was sick, needed surgery, had nowhere stable to stay, and was trying to retrieve her belongings after a 3-year relationship ended. she says. Ashley knew about her before the breakup was complete, and she says the transition had been planned before she was gone. Those are Misty's allegations, and the people involved may tell the story differently. But the new receipts add something the earlier chapters did not have. Timestamps. A message from Ashley and Michael's thread. A cluster of no-caller ID calls. Voicemail entries minutes apart. A workplace reference from an unknown number. And Frank somehow ending up in the Facebook subplot, despite never auditioning for the role. By now, the Temu Avengers have assembled so many times, they should qualify for a loyalty program. Ryan brings the backup. Misha brings the family defense. Missy brings the family credentials. Ashley brings the shopping cart. And Michael brings the one superpower every dysfunctional saga seems to require. The ability to stand in the middle of a five-alarm mess and wonder why everyone is still talking about the smoke. But here is the part where the joke ends. No breakup needs anonymous calls. No argument needs somebody referencing a workplace. No dispute over belongings needs an extended universe. And no one wins when everybody keeps feeding the same conflict. The clean ending is still available. Return the belongings. Handle the title. Stop the anonymous calls. Stop checking relatives for ammunition. Stop recruiting reinforcements. And let the relationship stay over. So this is where part 3 ends. Misty on one side, collecting screenshots like baseball cards. Michael on the other, surrounded by enough phones to open a kiosk at the mall. Ashley still pushing the junk shopping cart through the middle of the plot. Ryan, Misha, and Missy standing by like the world's least necessary emergency response team. And poor Frank, who woke up one morning and discovered he had somehow become a supporting character in cheating, cousins, and ankle monitors. Some families pass down recipes. Some pass down heirlooms. This story appears to pass down screenshots. And somewhere in the distance, a burner phone begins to ring. This time, nobody answers. At last, character development.